How did you find that one?
Oh, look, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
That was enjoyable, nearly.
Hey guys, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of Question Wings and Things in Melbourne.
Thanks, mate.
Scott is the Director of Operations for Drawboard, as well as the COO for Versus Merch, and a whole heap of other side projects. Welcome, man. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Right, mate. We'll crack on in. How are you feeling for this episode anyway?
Yeah, feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Confident.
I think I'm more nervous than you after last week's performance, to be honest.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Ooh, that's quite a lot of mine, but you say when.
Yeah, let's try that, eh?
You don't have to do the whole thing, mate. Right. Bottoms up.
We're going.
Cheers, bro. So question one. It's obviously Drawboard.
Yep.
Currently the Director of Operations there. You started in probably the worst time last year, March 2020. So what were the main challenges for the whole year? And I suppose how did you overcome them?
The way Drawboard's set up, I did come in at a time that was unfortunate. I guess it was starting right as we were going into some pretty hard lockdowns there. Being a remote collaboration tool, if we couldn't work remotely as a team, we were probably doing something wrong as a starting point. So luckily the company already had work from home days prior to me joining. So the team were used to already partially working remotely. Coming in and starting a new role at that time, especially a role which involves helping to coordinate the entire company, very challenging.
Yeah, can imagine.
I was kind of lucky coming in and I was essentially being able to go and talk to the team members, find out where improvements can be made, more about understanding how the business was operating and where we could make the improvements, how we could rejig the structure to allow for scale and push forward from there.
How did you find that one?
Oh, look, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
That was enjoyable, nearly.
You did better than me. I didn't eat half mine, but I'll make sure I smash the next one for you.
I believe in you.
Question number 2. Get some sauce on it. Need to learn how to get some coated ones so it's not so much, but whatever. Obviously there's some big changes coming in terms of your career. Versus Merch is taking off, so it's your other business. What is Versus Merch and what are the goals that you're looking to achieve?
So Versus Merch, we can pretty much put your logo on anything. So that's everything, it's uniforms, promotional items, event setups, signage on shop fronts. You name it, we can put your branding on it and get it at an affordable price and all of the things in one location. So you don't have to go to 3 and 4 and 5 different places to get what you need, and you get the best price because we have the network to be able to do that. My business partner, Evan McClellan, he founded Versus back in 2012 and did an amazing job sort of scaling that out just as a one-man operation for years. We'd known each other for a long time through the music scene, and we'd both done bands together and things like that. And we had a chat and he sort of said, oh, look, would you like to help give me some as an advisor and get involved a little bit more? And over time that grew to, hang on, we work really well together and we really complement each other from the way that we work. And he's a hit the ground hustler and will make things happen, and I've got the strategic knowledge and know how to scale the business and do it the right way and build it out and flush it out from that. So we really fit well together, and the last couple of years have really stepped things up and growing at a pretty rapid pace and got a pretty solid team going now and some really good partnerships in place, working with some really good brands. So it's a really exciting time for us and growing at a very rapid pace.
I love the brand, I love the business, love the idea. That wasn't as bad, I don't think.
Oh, it was about the same as the first one. Similar-ish.
I think we're going to take a step up in 3, I think, but we'll crack on. Right, so little morsel. This one looks redder than my hair. That's very bad.
You say that until it hits.
I can feel it in my eyes, to be fair. So, through being a manager or affiliations, you've got around, associated with 9 businesses. First of all, how do you manage that many businesses without losing your mind? And second of all, as a person who's scaled multiple startups and multiple businesses in his career, what's your biggest bit of advice for scaling a business successfully?
So, the running so many things. It does really come back to time management and just making sure you're prioritizing the right things, making sure you're not wasting time on the things that don't matter. We know that there's the minimum amount of things you can do that will generate probably 80% of the results. So make sure you're doing that for each of those businesses and making sure that the company level goals on those, they're the things that we're focusing on. So if what we're doing on a daily doesn't align with that, should we be doing it? Probably not. The same goes on the startup side. It's making sure you can grow in a sustainable way. That means structure, but by structure, it needs to be structure that is loose enough that people can still operate within freedom and get the things done they need to do, but in a way that's going to then build it out and allow them to grow and add team members and advance what they need to do.
Yeah.
And
you seem to be all right there as well. You could get your words out after that one.
Doing okay.
So we'll move on to the next one. Once we get this, we'll dive into the question, put it on the line, thumbs up. That's great, that's that one. So, go to your background. You lived in the States for a while, background in civil engineering, through to marketing, to growth hacking, and then now obviously C-level leadership. How did you manage that transition, and I suppose how did the transition come about?
Yeah, look, I kind of fell into engineering, which sounds ridiculous. My dad was a civil engineer. I was always around, I guess, that way of working and understanding how the principles and how things work. I didn't really want to know what I wanted to do when I finished school. Mum and dad were kind of like, look, you got to pick something. I wanted to do music and things like that because I was playing in bands and whatnot. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, not that. Pick a real thing.
Yeah.
So I went and did the engineering course, figured it was going to pay reasonably well. Seems like a good job.
Yeah. And
then got in there and hated it. Not the sort of environment or the type of people or the outlets. There's no creativity, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Everything is just to guidelines. While all that was happening, I was playing in a touring band. A band is essentially a startup that has no money and is failing horribly all the time. Trying to sell something that no one wants.
Yeah.
So if you can sell a band or run a band and sell out shows, sell merch, sell CDs, you're doing well. So I figured if I could do that, then I could probably do business things as well. And I would like to try and do that. So I started a couple of my own businesses, learned how to do digital marketing, essentially on the ground floor of digital marketing as Facebook sort of kicked off, and figured out my way through that and gone, hang on, I reckon I can do this for a real business now. Moved to New York, started consulting for a few businesses over there, ended up working with a couple of startups more permanently. I also started working doing media with the NBA for an Australian outlet, and then joined the Go One team. That was when they had around 20 employees. I was the only person in America. I was literally met with the founder, CEO in San Francisco, got me to join the team. He got on a plane back to Australia and said, good luck, off you go. Met the drawboard guys, and obviously while this was all going along, Versus merch with Evan in the background and a few of the other things that we had going along on that as well. And it's one of those things where if I don't have 3 or 4 things going at the time, I get a little bit bored. Yeah,
I was going to say your definition of a side hustler, mate. At the crescendo now, so...
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
That was all right,
wasn't it? A little bit more bite.
Yeah, I think this is one that might ruin us, to be honest. Right, so it's a bit of a fun question for the 5th one because people's brains usually switch off at this point, but cheers, mate. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me. You right there?
Yeah. What would you say your luckiest moment through your career, through your life?
Luck is, I talk about luck a little bit in general.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in luck as a thing that randomly happens. I believe that you create your own luck and you put yourself into positions where you can seize an opportunity. I'm going to say that I've been lucky, but I've got myself into the situations where I've been able to seize an opportunity that has been able to advance me. So it's a right place, right time, but I've been able to get myself into those right places. So one of the luckiest is probably, it was how I got into being able to do some work alongside the NBA. And I was doing a little bit of work with a couple of the clubs and players out here. A few friends said, hey, when you get to New York, hit up this guy. He's exactly like you. You'll love him. You'll get along really well. And I shot Nick an email and I was like, oh yeah, look, I'm coming over from Australia. If you're around, be good to grab a coffee and just have a chat. Yeah, we met up and love the opportunity. If you ever need a hand, let me know. Sure enough, like 2 or 3 weeks later, he's like, oh yeah, can you come and film this thing for me and help me out so I know I can be on camera and do the interviews and whatnot. Yeah, we did that together a handful of times in New York, and I had to move from New York to San Francisco, and kind of so I said, look, I've got to move, so I guess that's probably it for this. And he was kind of like, oh no, we'll just get you your own pass and you just be the West Coast guy and you just cover all the Warriors games.
All right guys, that concludes episode 2, season 3, Question Wings and Things in Melbourne. We've got a few more episodes coming over the next few weeks, so watch this space. And you keep seeing me getting redder and redder every time. See you later.